This NFL Picks Week 2 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, this is LeGarrette Blunt, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. How we doing, Sean?
Doing good. Was that your Italian accent?
No, I just said how we doing.
You're clearly putting.
What
I
do you
mean,
mean?
you got your jacket on. You
What are
got
you
your
talking
Dago Dimes T-shirt. Or did I spoil that? Were you going to do a big reveal?
I'm not. No reveal. Just
Okay.
supporting a fellow Italian American.
Trying to make it in this world.
You know, as we've discussed many times on this show, you can say things about some people. You can't say things about other people. So yeah,
I don't know what you're referring to, Ryan.
just the general Italian American slander.
Yeah,
Lots of movies slandering Italian American, hardworking Italian Americans.
that was always a great running through line of the Sopranos. How angry
Yeah.
they were getting about the anti-Italian discrimination going on,
it's
and how
unbelievable.
TVs and movies made them look so bad. You know what? The other favorite thing was that they were FBI wiretaps. Like early on, one of the episodes of The Sopranos, the FBI wiretaps were picking up mafia guys talking about how are the Sopranos so realistic? How did they know about it was like one of the Medicare scams they were running. And they're like, how'd they know about this? And they were bitching about how the show's too realistic.
Well, they had some
Giving away
good
their
advisors,
secrets.
you know.
Yes, exactly. And shout out JR Baltimore in the chat. As an Irish Italian American myself, you two's ethnic combination is perfect. Well, shout out to you. Shout out to everyone coming in the chat here, hanging out, getting ready for NFL Week 2. Obviously, we did the recap show already, Ryan. But before we hop into it, any big picture thoughts? Anything you're taking away from Week 1 before we hop in here and pick every NFL game against the spread? Kind of, I mean, certainly the Eagles game down in Brazil. Thoughts and prayers to all the players lost, all the illegal incidents. Ironically, Miami, three players arrested, 0 down in Brazil, but very sloppy game there. Some turnovers, just slipping and falling a lot, probably because of the field condition. But then in general, I felt like pretty sloppy quarterback play. I read a nugget that only 2 quarterbacks threw for more than 300 yards NFL Week 1, and neither of them covered the spread. It was Stafford and Tua. Now both were pretty close to covering the spread, and if you were a Rams backer, you certainly felt like you got a bad beat there, especially if you got the late number of 5.5. But any big picture takeaways? Passing touchdowns were down.
I mean, the Jags did fumble. The ETN fumble did probably also help the Dolphins a little bit. So
yes.
I would say that the eyes did not recognize how bad some of the offensive performances were. I was playing around with the some of the EPA CPOE graphs and just how bad Bryce Young was.
Oh my God! You tweeted out the graph, and it was just literally off the charts.
Well,
like they almost had to like reframe the graph to show how bad poor Bryce Young was.
It was a little deceptive by me because I basically removed garbage time, and I aggressively removed garbage time. So I didn't take any plays that happened outside of a win probability between 30 and 70%. Competitive game, basically.
Yeah.
He only had one play in that range. And it was so far off the reservation. I mean, the graph is pretty funny to look at, but yeah, I think in general, the quarterbacks who I thought did decent, did not. I mean, in general, there were just so many bad performances like that. We would have been talking about a lot of them probably has historic bad performances, and it kind of brought it. I
mean, Deshaun Watson kind of got lost under the radar because there were other bad quarterbacks.
I mean, some of the numbers support that he had some. It wasn't just him.
Yeah,
but I watched that game. It was kind of just him.
No, I mean.
No.
Well, and also, I don't know if you saw this story, but they think they found Deshaun Watson's burner. It's just this guy just keeps sticking up for Deshaun Watson, going, "Hey, if his tackles are healthy, if you gave him Trent Williams, then you'd really be able to see what 4 can do." And it's like him responding to other people defending Deshaun Watson. You're like, "Damn right, yeah." Just he's like the guys in the locker room respect Deshaun Watson and they have his back. That's all that matters. I get you had some pressure. You're dealing with some when he was trying to evade pressure, he looked horrible. And then 2, some of those throws, Ryan, it was like he threw it into the stands and it was not a throwaway. It was like an out route and he just sailed it. Not even close.
Not even close. I'll find it later in the show for sure. I have I was looking at some of the off target throw metrics.
Yeah.
And not good. Anyway, so big takeaway was that there was a lot of bad quarterback performances that we would be speaking of on a historic level. But so many of them happened, so much so that we're not talking about Jordan Love's horrible inaccuracy throughout the game. We're not talking about how Anthony Richardson had some just awful moments in that game. If not for a couple of his just like absolute, I mean,
Anthony Richardson is, if a quarterback was craps, it's Anthony Richardson because there are the ultimate highs, like that aerial shot of him throwing that deep bomb. That is just when keep hitting the number, and then he'll roll like 4 sevens in a row.
Imagine being able to be off platform, getting hit by a defensive lineman in the NFL. And flick your wrist and have the thought that was the 3rd longest air yard completion in the NFL since like 2016 or something like that. So absolute crack cocaine.
Do you want any? We gave out so many preseason takes, 32 NFL team previews. Do you have any mulligans? I'm sure people would say, "Oh, you're so wrong about Will Levis." And the Titans, the Titans almost doubled the Bears' yardage. I'm not going to say it was quote unquote a bad beat. I'm not going to be that guy because they threw the game away.
It was.
But even Callahan said if we punted every time in the second half, we would have won that game. And to me, the takeaway is, hey, that defense actually looked pretty damn good. If Will Levis can sort things out a little bit, and again, we saw how bad the rest of the team was, or the rest of the quarterbacks were passing yardage wise. Certainly don't feel great about the bet, but I'm not shredding it quite yet.
Well, I already highlighted it. Game 1, Joe Burrow in this offense throws for like 190 yards. He then comes out and had 3 straight 300-yard games. So there's still optimism. I will say that Will Levis was one of the guys who was pretty bad, but we move on. We got through it. We had a pretty good. I would say I'm surprised we're this deep into the show and we're not talking about
Ryan. I'm not normally one to tout, but
probably because maybe because I had a better week.
You did have one win over me. I mean, really, probably the deciding pick was the Texans game where I'm like, Colts are not winning this game, and they didn't, they did get the cover. So hats off to you, Ryan, get the win. Although I did have the Steelers money line dog. Although obviously you were also big on the Steelers as well. That was a nice cash. I think I got it at like 165 in person out there in Vegas. That was fun. And Circa Millions, Ryan, or actually I realize it's Circa Million. Circa Million 6. And we only got one game wrong. We pushed the Broncos game, which was at 6. So 3-1-1 in the Circa Million. Good start. Definitely going to take that. And then obviously Survivor. Both our entries, Tampa Bay and New Orleans, both survived, and 5,504 people all got knocked out, which is massive.
Did someone tell you we were saying it wrong with millions?
No, I just noticed that.
It's. I don't think it's wrong to say circa million. Circa. The first contest was circa million, but now it is millions. So I understand it's a name.
It says
it's a proper,
on the hat Circa Million.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
Circa Sports Million is the official title.
But it's for millions.
For millions of dollars, yes.
Okay.
But if you read all the graphics say million, so it's been driving me crazy that I call it millions.
Real donkey. Man.
Yeah. And no Ryan update from Circa Million. No one went 5-0. 60
That's
people.
Wild.
60 people. Well, the top 5 entries were horrible. And the only one that all top 5 picks lost. The only winner I think was Detroit at -3.5, which was, if you watch that game, that was insane.
Probably should have lost.
So there was 60 people were 4-0-1, 585 were 4-1, 417 were 3-1-1.
Oh, so we're in good shape, Sean.
Yeah, off to a decent start.
And we should have been a 4.
Oh no, sorry, there were 60 people that were 5-0.
Oh, you got me excited.
They kind
Jesus. Millions.
It is million. I just feel like for just for posterity, we got to get that right.
All right.
But let's hop into it. Let's talk Thursday night football, Ryan. What do we got?
We should have been 4-1. All right. Yeah, and you know what? It feels good that you wake up and you're only a couple days from football at all times. First game up, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. We said this might be a look ahead game. I think we agreed. Maybe it's not. -2.5 for Miami. Plus 118 coming the other way for the Bills. 49 is the total. Maybe. All right. So it's fair to suggest that no, neither team was looking ahead. And I think in general, I want to see the Bills play defense the way they did against the Cardinals, against the Dolphins, because I think that might be a problem.
Okay.
I don't think Arizona was trying to attack in the same way that Miami attacks you. And I think if you just sit back and leave the middle of the field that doesn't have Matt Milano, it's just going to be populated with Jalen Waddle, with Tyreek Hill.
I think this is a smash spot for the Buffalo Bills.
Really?
Love the Bills here. Yes. Ryan, I mean, I bbelieve in flow charts. No. And the Bills just own the Miami Dolphins. They're 11-1 last 12 straight up against the Dolphins. Tua himself 1-6 against the Dolphins. That one win was a 2-point win at home when it was 90 degrees with 70% humidity. The fact that this game is being played at night, we're not going to be seeing thermometers. It'll be a little warm, a little sticky. And look at the Dolphin side. You got Mostert out, Achan game time decision.
Does that matter?
What?
I like in that scheme. If they roll out Jeff Wilson and Jalen Wright, will it be? I'm sure Achan's probably.
I think
a
it's slight downgrade.
Bump,
yeah, I think a slight downgrade. Certainly, I think Achan has some big playability, and then Tyreek Hill. This is a massive distraction. You have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey calling for the firing of a police officer. I mean, clearly, you watch that press conference. This is a guy who is not locked in on football. Home teams in general have not been great. ATS. I understand Miami's matchup against the Bills defense. I think certainly is going to be favorable. But on the other side, I love Gregory Rousseau. I think he's going to be able to pressure Tua. And I think the Dolphins were pretty fortunate to get out of that game with the win. Now, certainly you expect Tyreek Hill to have some explosive plays, and yeah, Bill's secondary is, their Teron Johnson, their nickel back is banged up, but I think this is what we could be looking at least for the regular season, the year of Josh Allen, where Josh Allen says, fuck it. I'm going to put the team on my back. I'm going to score a couple rushing touchdowns. I'm going to make this happen one way or another. His will to win, I think, is going to carry this Bills team to victory. At the very least, the cover. So I love Buffalo here.
Not worried about Josh popping up on the injury report.
Okay. No, that's not a big deal at all.
Yeah. So, especially on a short week, I would imagine the humidity or whatever sort of weather delta down there in Florida will matter. Yeah, it's a night game. That's fine. But I also think that you're underselling what the defense was last week for them. And I do think Miami, regardless of the running backs, is going to be able to have success on offense. I mean, they gain. I mean, there's a reason Tua is at the top of the yardage chart. They got a ton of yards. There was a couple 4th and outs in there that kind of buried the points, and then fortunate, like you said, to get the fumble. But I mean, this is a team where I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a tough matchup. Like I said, Waddle is going to be a tough matchup, and I expect this offense to look. They look good. They were one of the better offenses in the league, and I think when I look at the Bills, it was just Josh Allen.
Yeah, and I think that's all they need. And that,
yeah, and I think I'll be picking them when they're back at home because I like to chop the divisional games. I just think at 2.5 you have to.
So you're not scared of the Bills' just dominance and ownership of the Dolphins.
If I'll be concerned if their defense is having success, because I think if this is a track meet, I'll take the Dolphins at home.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
to me, that's where the matchup.
But you're not buying into any. You think the historical ownership that the Bills have over the Dolphins is an outlier and doesn't matter in this.
I think last
because I mean there's going to be some spots where I lean into, hey, this team always beats this team in division.
I looked at you at the Westgate and you were like, Josh Allen's doing Josh Allen things. I just think it
was a classic.
He's going to create some variance where maybe we do see that defensive touchdown to start the game. But I certainly think that what we saw last week was, like you said, Josh putting the team on his back against a porous defense.
Yep.
I think this defense will have a better game plan because
if the Dolphins cover, Ryan, that would be 5-0 ATS favorites, home favorites in primetime.
Wow. What are you trying to say?
No,
dogs are due.
They might be.
You're a due handicapper.
I am.
Get you a rag to go with.
Shout out to Chad G saying Bills are 6-0 last Thursday night game. So Sean McDermott is able to get them ready on short rest.
Yeah, no, I think this will be a good game. Kudos to the NFL for putting a good game on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Sometimes they opt for the bad ones. All right, next up.
Bad strategy.
We're heading to Sunday where set your alarms because the NFL gave us 9 games in the early window, Sean. We're going to have to configure God's eye appropriately. Next up, we got the Las Vegas Raiders heading across the country in not only a back-to-back road spot, but a back-to-back Harbaugh spot. This is the first time we've seen a back-to-back Harbaugh spot, maybe ever. Didn't go back and actually research it. But the Ravens coming off that Thursday night loss, little mini bye. You got to think that a back-to-back Harbaugh spot is like just an absolute diabolical back-to-back road situation. All the money coming in on Baltimore laying 8.5.
Yep.
Plus 374 for the Raiders on the money line. 41.5 is the total. I mean, this feels like a little too obvious, and I'm a pro Raiders guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that
what am I missing? The Raiders shitting the bed and the Raiders playing with their food.
Well, shitting the bed. Are you talking about Lamar? He missed practice. Maybe he's under the weather again.
We do have the theory that Lamar's mom just loves cooking unhealthy shit. And
he just has salmonella permanently in his house. Poor guy.
Maybe he's maybe he's eating.
So here's the thing. If you like an angle. Certainly, the matchup of the Raiders defensive line against the Ravens offensive line could be a nice angle for them to work. But I mean, I just love Harbaugh off a loss. He's been great week 1 and week 2 ATS 22-11 ATS in week 1 and week 2. He's very good early, and that was like, and losing in Kansas City, and obviously they were a half an inch away from pulling out. At least sending that game possibly to overtime, but it seemed like they were going to go for 2. They were in that game. Lamar is a big favorite, not great, and I could see this Raiders team backdooring. But again, a big reason why I was out on the Las Vegas Raiders this year was I think Minshew isn't dynamic enough for the offense, and I think Antonio Pierce is not a good head coach. It was the most cowardly punt since 1999. You can't talk about the Raider way and attitude and then kick field goals on 4th and 1 and punt on the opponent's 40 at 4th and 1. Just like Jim Harbaugh outcoached Antonio Pierce last week. Now you got to fly out to the East Coast and get your ass kicked by John Harbaugh. This is a tough spot for them. Minshew straight up as a dog has not been good. 16 starts, he's 1-15 straight up as a dog. Again, I think if the Raiders get this done, it's Max Crosby going off and taking advantage of that interior defensive line that we saw Chris Jones being able to pressure Lamar. But the counter is a lot of that pressure didn't end up being great for Kansas City because Lamar just scrambled a ton and racked up a decent amount of yards.
Well, I do think that Patrick Graham will have a decent game plan, but he's not going to attack. Like I do think it would have to be just a one-on-one performance from Crosby. Like he would have to wreck the game in a way that maybe isn't going to happen. Like I don't know. I know he had a tough matchup last week, but he kind of no-showed. And so I'm a little worried about Max Crosby right now. But yeah, I mean,
and that was Joe Alt, who had a very
I think there was some
or maybe Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, I think it was mostly
either
Slater.
way, like the Chargers tackles. And again, that's the kind of details that Harbaugh's will figure out. And you don't think Jim is passing along a couple nuggets to old John Harbaugh? Is there a little Harbaugh helping Harbaugh here?
Well, I also think it's just purely, you saw what the Chargers were able to do. They leaned on him. They ran the ball, and eventually the levee broke. And that's, I mean, why wouldn't the Ravens do that? Don't worry about the pass blocking. Just run the ball. Like you're one of the you fancy yourself as one of the best running teams in the league. So how will they fuck this up? Will it be a Lamar like backward oops fumble? I just feel like we've seen this game before. Everyone's going to play it in Survivor.
Yeah.
It's got vibes of just what could Public's all over this. What could possibly go wrong?
And I think
I'm obviously on the Ravens. I can't.
Oh, so you are on the Ravens.
Yeah. No, like you said,
you're just scaring yourself.
Oh, I'm terrified. We've bet on this game before. We've literally bet on this exact game before.
No. What's different is they're coming off a loss and long rest. If they had beaten the Kansas City Chiefs, then I would be really scared. Harbaugh doesn't lose back-to-back games, Ryan.
I agree, and they usually cover big numbers. But
Yeah.
I've just seen the game where it's a sleepy early.
It's
start
not
there
sleepy
in
because you're
Baltimore.
coming off a loss and you have extra rest. So Harbaugh has been up their ass the entire time.
And your brother just beat this team.
And it's a horrible travel spot for the Raiders.
Yeah.
You have an early kickoff. You play a game on the West Coast, and then you have an early kickoff game in the East Coast. This is a smash spot for a reason.
Well, in fairness, Sean, the trip to Vegas isn't crazy. So like that's that part of the. It's just I'm viewing it more as just a single long trip. I mean, we do make this trip every week, and it's not that bad.
What?
Vegas to LA.
Oh well, yeah, whatever. You're on the. I get dehydrated from that Southwest flight.
You gotta bring the humidifier.
I mean, Mark Davis probably makes them fly Southwest. Robel in the chat saying there are plenty of dogs on the board. Yeah. This is not the one. I agree with you, Robel.
Yeah.
I see Ryan's hesitancy because everyone is going to be playing it, but sometimes the chalk comes through. Hey, have you signed up? UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN, get you the 100% deposit match up to 50% deposit match up to $1,000. They got the vulture protection, the profit boost. There's just so much good stuff over on Underdog Fantasy. Ryan, let's quickly put together a little 2-person entry. Anything you like here for the old Underdog Fantasy? Pick them, of course, higher, lower.
I mean, do we want to stick just to Thursday or just anywhere on the board?
Anything on the board that's stalking you?
I mean, what was I looking at?
I'll start. I think that Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Bucs is going to, the total it's the highest on the board. I do think that shootout could happen. And you saw what Cooper Kupp and some of these receivers, even Tyler Johnson, when Nakua went out, you were able to throw on this Rams secondary. I'm sure we're going to talk about it more in the props, but Jalen McMillan higher 30.5 receiving yards. He's been my guy. I think this is a great game flow. It's Baker in a dome. Baker has confidence. He somehow was able to win a game without Dave Canales. Dave Canales, QB whisper, Ryan, not off to a good start for that team. So Jalen McMillan, the fact that his higher is 30.5 receiving yards, love that. They left a lot of plays on on the field last week. So I like that a lot. Kramer, what do you got? What's one entry you like?
I won't use Carson Steele anytime, but
Ooh,
Pacheco higher 66.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
The Bengals defense is trash. I called this in the you asked for takes that I was wrong about.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something I was right about. Bengals defense does not look very good, and specifically a team with no real threats on the outside was able to run it down your face.
Yeah, I mean, Stevenson had a good game, so Pacheco should be able to get his.
Hopefully, it's such a blowout. We get to see a lot of Carson Steele. I can only be so lucky.
Pacheco higher 66.5 rushing yards. Jalen McMillan higher 30.5 receiving yards. Go to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN.
All right, Sean. Not only did we just discuss a back-to-back Harbaugh spot, we're going to be doing a back-to-back Harbaugh spot right here as we talk about the Los Angeles Chargers on the road, and we generally like them on the road better than we like them at home. But maybe under the new Harbaugh way, who's got it better than us? Absolutely nobody.
Nobody.
Panthers. Which unfortunately, Sean, if you're new to the program, the Panthers are a close your eyes special because they underperformed the spread by 21 points last week.
Oh no!
And now they are getting points. It's not supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to be gross. The Chargers are 6-point road favorites here. 39 is the total, and you can get a plus 227 if you want to take the Panthers on the money line. I would say. Like, so if you're not familiar, close your eyes special. Like I said, underperform the spread by 21 points and catching points the next week.
Yep.
Over the last 3 seasons, Sean, 61%, 25 and 16. So a pretty solid trend. We've been tracking it for a better part of 2 decades where it's been very profitable, probably right around that 60% mark there. And this is just an absolute put a bow on it.
You got to close your eyes.
It's disgusting. No one wants to take the Panthers. I posted that graph with Bryce Young looking like a guy, someone. And
you're right, Ryan. Don't take the Panthers. Don't do it.
Someone commented.
Don't do it.
That Bryce Young looked like a moon, relative to the planet that was all the other players, and.
I thought he looks like a guy on Earth, and then all the other people are up stars.
What like the best, a really good close your eyes special. You can't say anything nice. You can't figure out why. I mean, the Panther. Look at the injury report. Panthers lost
one good player,
an important member of the run defense and the defensive line. I go to the church of the close your eyes special. But here's what I'll say.
I do as well, but I make certain exceptions when we're dealing with the historically bad team, right?
I got one thing to say.
What is that?
I do
Who's
wonder.
got it better than us? Nobody.
I failed to mention Panthers actually underperformed by 33.5 points, which is pretty impressive. But the only 2 things I could find was you like a good do handicap. Well, that was a very, very clean game from the Chargers from a turnover perspective.
Yes.
So maybe there's some road turnover regression on natural grass. 2, Jim Harbaugh loves a lot of things in life.
Yeah,
football included.
Oh well, let's play that. Do you want to talk about what? He loves here?
As you're bringing it up, I'll talk this out. Football included, but you know what he loves even more? A good sleepover with the boys. And you know what he's looking ahead to? The sleepover, because they are staying in Charlotte for the back-to-back road spot. But he's excited. He's got his pillow. He's not game planning. He's thinking about playing games.
He
with the
loves
boys.
game planning, Ryan.
The game plan and what they're going to do in the sleepover. I bet you he loves a good wet willy.
All right, Ryan. I'm ready to fire.
Let's fire it away.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't throw it up there. I see what you're saying. Got it. Start it again, Sean.
Okay.
I love guys who like football. And guys who like football, they like me back, and I like them back. And even guys that don't like football, I mean, they try to avoid me because I'm always trying to get them to like football more. I love guys who like football. And guys
Yeah,
who like football,
I can
they
just
like me
listen on a loop. This dude loves football, Ryan. I tweeted it out. I'm like, this is us and our audience. I love football. They love football. Let's go. Chargers are going to roll, Ryan, because you bring up some good stats. Teams that lose, there's a version of the close your eyes
bring
special.
up any stats to be clear.
Yeah, no, just the close your eyes special. Teams that lose by 35 points and are underdogs of 4 points or more in the next game, 50, 18-2, but only 6-6 in the first 4 weeks of the regular season. Another one. This is a great nugget. Teams to hold 25 minutes of possession or less in week 1. And that was a lot of, they had garbage time. They couldn't hold on to the ball, are just 8-23 straight up, 6-25 ATS in week 2. You're thinking, oh, our Justin Herbert, he can't play well on the road. No, that is when he succeeds. He is great. 9-4 ATS in the Eastern time zone. This is when they thrive. And Panthers average just 4.11 yards per offensive play. Not only the worst mark in the NFL, but the worst mark for any team since the Bengals back in 2008.
I hate to interrupt,
and they have no pass rush.
We perhaps Harbaugh's really going to be looking ahead to this sleepover. Maybe be staying on campus with his old coaching buddy Biff. Who, by the way, he hurt half his team by practicing too hard. These guys are going to be going.
Classic Biff Poggi, legendary Charlotte head coach. Noah the great nugget there. Shout out to Charlotte football. Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not going to be. I'm all over the Chargers here. I mean, Decker, our buddy Decker is loving him. He's embracing it. Maybe the Chargers win. I just can't imagine the one there. Justin Herbert with no pass rush, he's just going to sit back there and pick them apart. They're going to bring physicality. They're going to run it down this Panthers throat. They didn't do anything even close to right in a division game.
I would say that most of what you said is right. The one area I'd push back is Herbert was not very good. If you use some of the comparative advanced analytics, he's closer to Levis than he is Kyler Murray.
Well, let's talk about the other side
anyway. But yeah, I know. Like I said, you're not supposed to have a good reason for the close your eyes special.
I get it.
You know what? I'll note that you'll be a sinner. I did go back and look, Sean. I didn't have a huge data set, but the close your eyes special in the first half of the season actually performed better than in the back half of the season. So I didn't know if that was just a bad teams quitting versus like overreaction week 2's type stuff. Like you are right now hopping on that Harbaugh train.
Oh, love Harbaugh. Great coach.
Yeah. Just
ask any of those Michigan guys. You don't think they want Harbaugh coming back to Michigan with those khakis,
sleepover,
whipping that team into shape?
Yeah, the sleepover. That's what he lives for. I remember that. I mean, he did sleep over with. If you're not familiar, he once got in trouble for sleeping over with a punter. True story. All right, next up, Sean. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys, they won the game week 1.
That is a disgusting act.
And I guess they look good against a horrible Browns team. It was pretty much, would you say that Browns lost that more than the Cowboys?
They should go back and take away Kyle Stefanski's Coach of the Year trophy.
Yeah, right
they
now.
Really should. Give it to D'Amico Ryans. Give Ryan his winner.
I'll take my 22.
He was on D'Amico Ryans. You can't be the Coach of the Year and trot that out as your game plan. You just can't.
No.
Sure you get credit for coaching up Joe Flacco and all the other quarterbacks, but you can't make Deshaun Watson just a little bit better, just a little bit. He was fucking horrible, and he's going through a bunch of personal stuff. There's another accusation.
Well,
he lost some people close to him. Okay.
Well, hold on. I went and did a little bit of internet sleuthing. He's trying to get this, whatever this lawsuit is. Here's how you know it's real. This guy invokes his father's death, someone he was not necessarily even that close with. So I wonder, is old Deshaun Watson sweating? He realizes this is the end. I don't think he wants to play football anymore.
No, and that was.
But now he's going to lose all his money.
No, he's not because we'll see.
Hold on. I read a legal expert on Reddit say that there apparently there's some sort of like overarching a handful of clauses that essentially allow players to. That's why there was a report like he didn't get put on the exemption list or whatever. But it starts there, and there's basically a path to where if Cleveland really wanted to, and by the way, this is
why would they not want to?
This is the owner who oversaw a absolute racket of a scheme at the Flying J truck stops, basically offering rebates to big trucking companies, and then just paying them like pennies on the dollar because maybe they'll know, maybe they won't know. So why wouldn't he do something similar?
And
here?
Shout out to
Jameis, just free Jameis.
The potential burner of Deshaun Watson we were discussing earlier.
Does it look real?
Well, I'll just read some of the tweets. If 4, referring to Deshaun Watson, had a tackle like Trent Williams, he'd be able to show his greatness. 4 can't succeed when he's got no chance back there. Some of his replies are great.
We've uncovered it. He just needs Bill O'Brien to come back.
10 penalties. So someone tweeted out 10 penalties on just the offense alone yesterday. Ineligible, false start, holding calls, legal shifts, 3 illegal formations. Again, that's why I think Stefanski deserves some of this blame.
That is a
lot
of detail.
Leroy Bickerstaff writes back, "Yep, but we come on here and blame 4 when it's the offense as a whole. Give 4 no chance at success when he's backed up like this every time."
Is the account still active?
I don't know. He wrote, he's responding to Dan Orlovsky. The offense can't function. Dan Orlovsky said, "Come on, man. There's more to life than football. People go through shit off the field, but after one game, we gonna let that dude that ran through the back of the end zone tell us 4 not the answer, man. Come on."
He does have a point. Orlovsky did run out of the back of the end zone.
But at some point, if he is going to be on TV criticizing, giving his take.
Clearly Deshaun Watson is a psychopath. He probably was the entire time, and he had some good he had Bill O'Brien. So
shout out to the chat. AOD, we are live. LFG, very excited to be catching a show live. Yeah, no, I mean,
so as I was saying,
yes.
Cowboys.
Oh, we got distracted. I thought we were doing the Browns game.
Cowboys laying 6.5 against the Saints here. 46 is the total. Saints plus 248. I mean, I don't have this one hurts because it does seem like on one hand the Saints are a bet against team this week.
No, you love them coming off a blowout win, Ryan. I mean, what are you talking about?
So, I mean, of course they looked good. They were playing the Panthers.
Yeah,
I know. I just took the Panthers,
but I'll say this: as painful as it is to take Derek Carr as a favorite, and he smashed that last week. Derek Carr as a dog, he actually is 53-46-1.
But what concerns me is that the Cowboys will pressure him. Yeah. And when Derek Carr gets pressured, he turns into a fucking pumpkin.
We got to take the Saints. It's a company policy.
Really? Do we have to?
Well, you don't. I mean, you're going off grid, Ryan. You can do whatever you want.
It's 2024. There's more than just a 0 and a 1.
I think what might actually help get the Saints get this win, get this cover is the Cowboys' offensive line actually had some issues, but it kind of got buried because of how bad Cleveland's offense looked. And Dallas had a couple of big plays. They had that punt return and then just kind of sat on the lead. I think there are still some issues with that offensive line, and I think they could get tested here a little bit with the Saints. I also think Kamara is going to be an interesting. I think they're going to check it down a ton to him. And the Saints team, they have nothing to lose. They're going to be playing with their hair on fire. This is an ultimate. No one believes in them. I mean, if I'm Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen has been horrible as a dog of 4 points or more, but
he's been horrible in all scenarios.
Yeah, he's not a good coach.
It's like 40% all time.
He's very bad win loss. But I think this is an ultimate. Come on, Saints they're getting 6.5 points. This offense at the very least can backdoor them.
This is also a good test for the new offense looked pretty good against the Panthers. How will they look against this Cowboys team? Because they didn't really even use Olave.
No,
I think.
And honestly, this could be a look ahead spot for the Cowboys. They got the Ravens.
I coming
up next week.
I tend to not do that, but Jerry's got to have a little envy of. I mean, he just had to pay Dak all that money, and now he's got to watch Lamar. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know if I mentioned it, but also 70, maybe 2-3% of the bets coming in on Dallas, so we can call it a public side.
Great.
Of course, I'm on the Saints with you, Sean.
Let's go.
I was just trying to. Again, I was just.
I like it when you throw them off the scent, right?
Yeah.
They don't see it coming.
Forget about it. Tampa Bay, Detroit, another playoff rematch, and this is an exciting game. I mean, both for us as a show, we have these teams to win their respective divisions.
Yep.
And I just think it's going to be an exciting game. I already was playing around with some DFS lineups. This game's going to be involved. Detroit laying 7.5 here. 51.5 is the total. Bucs a nice juicy plus 309 on the money line. Sean, my big concern here.
Yep.
Because I love the Bucs. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, okay.
Is that we just saw the Bucs in what we'll probably be calling like super optimal situation, which is playing the Commanders Redskins football team. Which, by the way, we ran into some people at the Westgate who were hoping. I told them about my bet that the next name for the Washington football team will be the Redskins. They loved it. They thought it was a great bet. They didn't have any inside info though. Yeah, you just played the team that's probably going to have one of the easiest defenses and secondaries to attack. And then on the other side, you have Detroit, who is going to be going against your secondary, which is, very, very banged up. They're missing.
Yeah, no. Antoine Winfield is out. They're missing like 4 guys, I think, in total, which you don't like. That's
tough. That's
going
tough.
up against Jameson Williams, but
and Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. I thought, I don't know. Didn't really love a couple of the Dan Campbell coaching decisions. Didn't love it. I felt like they were a little clumsy at times. Obviously, I love what they did in overtime. Just smash mouth football, run it down their throat. But
the passing game was not the forte.
Yeah, it was not. They were not firing on all cylinders. Now maybe they will this week, but I think this could be not necessarily a letdown spot. But that was a big emotional overtime victory. It might be a little tough to get up for this game. I think the Bucs offense is going to be able to throw the football on the Lions. Todd Bowles has been pretty good as an underdog, 6-7 straight up with Mayfield. They're good at exceeding expectations. Stafford put up 300 against this Lions team, and that was out without Puka Nacua. I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, I think they're going to be able to move the ball against this Lions team, put them in some tough spots, and I think they might be able to get a little revenge.
I think they're going to be in trouble. I think they're going to have a hard time loading the box because of the back end is going to be so thin. I mean, the street for anytime guys signed off the street are going to play for you. That's a bad sign. And I do think Amon-Ra didn't he's not a bad player out all of a sudden. So I think there is a potential for the secondary to get really shredded. And I think they're going to be able to run the ball too. I think they're going to be able to play bully ball just like they did in overtime. I like your angle about this being kind of a mini letdown spot, but it's also they played in the playoffs. They'll be up for this. And I think Detroit, the number
early start, little sleepy.
The number being 7.5 this season with this Lions team. Again, I love that Dan Campbell made some bad decisions and almost lost the game. Rip that fucking shit out, Dan. Get the fuck out of here. Get back to your aggressive self and go out and dominate a game. I think as well as I know that this Bucs team is good for a couple wrong sides of some blowouts, and this one feels perfect recipe with the defense down, the secondary down, and a team coming in that should be able to push them around. I think this one gets out of control, but I do think Baker and their passing game are still going to be good. Because I think this Tampa team turns into a very fun team if they fall down 2 touchdowns.
I think there's a version where they hang around and make this a game.
So maybe they backdoor
I think
on me,
there's a version where they backdoor this, because I think if Lions are up 2 scores and you just have Baker sitting in shotgun with 4 wide, I think they're going to be able to go down and get some points. I think this an easy.
They're just one dimensional. That's the problem.
Who?
Tampa. They won't.
I thought they did all right running the ball as well.
They were definitely their efficiency all came from the passing game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be able to move the ball on the Lions. I think they're going to be able to make this a game. So I like Tampa Bay plus 7.5. Kramer on Detroit laying the number. Hey, shout out to BetUS. Maybe you signed up with BetUS for the free roll football contest. If not, what are you waiting for? Bet with the best. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. They've been in the business for 30 years. You could trust them. Easy deposits with crypto, even easier withdrawals available in a ton of states, ton of countries. If you're listening to this, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Check out their lineup. They got a bunch of great props, live betting. You get a sweet 125% bonus on your first 3 deposit. You get a little 10% gamblers insurance. Who doesn't want a little insurance, Ryan? But again, a bunch of great numbers, great book, easy to work with. Couldn't recommend it more. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS.
And as Easy mentions, I don't know if you mentioned it at the top, but DJ Reader, full practice. So, not that they necessarily need it against this Tampa team, but again, if they're able to, if their defensive line's able to win, I think you may be in trouble. I like that we're disagreeing. So I feel like I'm seeing the board pretty good. All right, I think we're going to agree on this next one. Although the Colts are catching 78% of the action, and laying 3 points, which is a 7.5 point move off of last week, where the look ahead had the Packers -4.5. Total's 41. The Packers are plus 132 on the money line. All right, so obviously Malik Willis is not a good quarterback, but is Jordan Love worth 7.5 points more than Malik Willis?
Yes.
Okay.
Malik Willis is very, very bad. I was like an early supporter of Malik Willis. I thought draft this guy. He's super athletic.
You saw him giving the homeless people the stuff in his suitcase.
Yeah, it seemed like a great guy, and I don't even know if he's completely cooked yet. Like he is. Again, I think I described him as like a 67 Corvette that they dragged out of the river. Like, yeah, he's a project. It's going to be a lot of work to get him fired up. He certainly has a bunch of God-given talent, but 67 pass attempts so far in the league, 0 touchdowns. That's bad. And to me, why this is really bad, and I do think LaFleur, as much as I bust his chops, I think he's a pretty good coach, good at preparing quarterbacks. I think he's done a good job with Jordan Love overall, but
I think his play calling is very good. I think that's where he really gets.
He's put his quarterbacks in positions to succeed. I think would be a good way to describe it. Malik Willis was traded to the Packers on August 26th after all 3 preseason games. So
that's not important.
No, I mean, this is a guy who probably needed some chemistry, needed some live action. Give this guy some joint practice. Let him fully understand the playbook and put him in a good way to succeed. I understand this is a big adjustment, but I think the Colts defense, they're going to have a pretty easy formula. It's load the box against Josh Jacobs and force Malik Willis to beat him on the outside. Now, Packers certainly do have a bunch of talented pass catchers against that Colts secondary. Sure. But I mean, and the Packers defense certainly had some issues. They gave up 34 points against the Eagles. I think AR-15 is going to be able to run on them. We saw what Saquon Barkley did against this Packers defense. They do have long rest going for them. Jonathan Taylor, I think, could have a very productive game for this team. The fact that you're getting Indy -3, I think, is a good price. I think if you're on the Packers, it's just kind of like a market play of like, this is too much of an over adjustment, but I'm not in the stock market. I'm in the sports gambling world, and I have eyes. I've seen Malik Willis play. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why it can't move more. To your point, I'm sure people are betting it at 3. Playing that sweet middle because they got that look ahead price at 4.5. Malik Willis has not shown us that he could throw the forward pass in the NFL. So unless unless you think that the Colts defense is bad enough to where either they're going to create because like the receivers can get open. Don't care.
Yes.
Malik Willis can't get him the ball. So if they just run the ball, can they? If they're one dimensional, do they have
also
a chance?
too, like I think he's bullshitting. But Matt LaFleur did say Jordan Love has a chance to play on Sunday. I think he's bullshitting. I don't think he's gonna play. And he also said Sean Clifford is gonna get some work.
How bad is Sean Clifford that he's not playing in this game right now?
Well, it's
he
interesting.
at least knows the playbook.
I think if Matt LaFleur, you're talking yourself into a version like a game plan that Arthur Smith drew up.
You tried to get
Justin
Tannehill.
Fields.
You tried to sign Tannehill.
Did they? I thought that was just a rumor. I didn't see that they tried to sign
Yeah,
him.
I guess I didn't go. It did seem like there was.
The fact that
there was contact.
I think the fact that they didn't sign Tannehill does probably mean they don't think Jordan Love's going to be out for
Tannehill's just
2-3 games. I mean, I would much rather.
Tannehill's your guy.
If you're giving me Tannehill and 4 points, I might have to think about this. But Malik Willis and 3 points, no, thank you.
I think Tannehill's out of the league for a reason. You think he plays this year at all? He's ready.
I mean, Ryan, I'm not meaning to disparage your team, but they would be much better with Ryan Tannehill as their starting quarterback. Easy with a great line. Sean Clifford, the big red backup. Yes, I don't. It's gonna be Malik Willis, which I think is crazy. Again, just like I would rather start Sean Clifford just because he's had more time with the program.
Have you talked to anyone that's taking the Packers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't talked to them personally, but I've heard people.
Someone who's taking the.
Oh, it's the classic Sharps thing of you can't react this much to a line. But I've seen Malik Willis play. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah, he's not replacement level. He's below replacement.
I know the math doesn't make sense to change the spread by 10 points, but as gamblers, we have to ignore the math sometimes.
Everyone is on the Colts. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
All right. Probably one of the strongest opinions I have because I don't understand this spread at all. Next up, we head back down to beautiful sunny Florida for the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns coming to Florida. We know those day spas are legal down there.
I'm not touching Deshaun Watson.
Jacksonville laying only 3 here. 41
the Robert Kraft pregame approach.
41.5 is the total. Browns plus 155 on the money line. All right. So a couple things that don't make sense to me. Why is the number 3? I thought the Jags looked fine last week, and I thought the defense looked pretty solid last week against the Dolphins. I thought the passing game looked like it's going to be fine. And outside of the ETN fumble, a little weird to me that they're splitting carries between ETN and Tank Bigsby. Maybe the fumble had something to do with that, but I don't see a team that should be laying only 3 to this Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah.
Until they can show me that they can sustain offense. Granted, their line should be healthier. It sounds like one, if not both tackles trending towards playing.
But and I think they will play, but are they 100%? And I think that Jags D line looked pretty frisky last week against the Dolphins. And
similar matchup.
What was the Jags downfall last week? And they did cover the spread
as he was running into the end zone,
and a crazy explosive play from Tyreek Hill. Where are the explosive plays coming from this Browns offense? Where?
Well, yeah, and that.
Well, I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, that play, I believe. I mean, yeah, same thing, right? Their injury, the injury in the secondary. So maybe again, you're relying on Deshaun Watson to complete a pass, and I think the issue was him going down the field wasn't super accurate. Tua, as we know, very catchable ball. Deshaun Watson, not very catchable balls, as we found out. So that you can
he has
double
catchable
on
balls, but
not very catchable.
And David Njoku is out. This very well could be a thermometer game. Once again, it is an early start time.
Do you have the weather report?
It's hot. It's humid. There's going to be some light rain, which might keep the degrees down. And maybe that's how if the Browns win this, I think it's like a sloppy, Jags with some crazy fumbles. But I thought the Jags looked pretty good overall. I like what I saw to that D line. I think they're going to give the Browns some trouble. And we talk about the Browns all the time. Like the Browns defense is much better at home. So we saw a better version of this Browns defense at home. And now you got to go on the road. There's bad vibes in the locker room. Trevor Lawrence, obviously his on and off splits, home road ATS are pretty jarring. I think he's going to be in a better spot here. And no Njoku, it's just I don't see like who's breaking the big plays for the Browns offense. And
Jerry Jeudy, baby.
And Ryan, we talk about why we're out on Watson. Okay, everyone's talking shit on him. He's going to be fired up, and this is going to be a get right game. What? No, this guy doesn't want to play football. He has no confidence. Like I think he does have some physical ability still, but he is so in his head.
But it's not, his physical ability does not include getting out of the pocket or completing passes down the field. So yeah, out on the situation, Jacksonville -3. You mentioned the home road splits. I also think that I don't know. I think the Jags are going to have success passing the ball downfield.
I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I mean, maybe Myles Garrett blows things up, but I don't know, man. And Terrell is saying, how is this not a survivor pick? It very well could be. I mean, we have one entry we're locked in on the path, but the freestyle, this one could be interesting. Right?
We've talked about a couple games where it's like, I mean, I could certainly think about burning. Like, I don't necessarily want to burn Detroit. I'm not going to play Dallas, but I could see how someone would be into that. But yeah, all of a sudden, like we think about what these numbers were, and then all of a sudden you blink, couple numbers get bigger. This isn't the toughest survivor week, I don't think.
No, all right. So Ryan, come on, what are you doing?
No, I mean,
trying to jinx it.
I don't mean it like that. I mean, there's a lot of options.
Oh, okay.
It's not one of those weeks where you're looking at a whole bunch of 3.5s. All right. Shall we continue, Sean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not much to add there. I don't know who's taking Cleveland. I don't understand how why the betting splits are like down the middle. I don't understand who's keeping this number at 3. Next up, little bit of a mini, this is like a Shanahan McVay, like young guy, soiree up there. Last time they got frisky in the Minnesota area. They got on a boat and everyone got in trouble. Vikings 6-point home dogs here. San Francisco catching 83% of the bets off Monday night, and they got a little bit of a look ahead spot to the old McVay Bowl. Although Shanahan does dominate.
Yes,
45.5 is the total. So I'm sure the Lion isn't concerning himself with the sheep. Plus 224 for the Vikings. Sean pointing at the screen. What did I do?
Oh, you just left the thing on for a while.
Oh yeah, I'm doing a million things over here. Thanks for picking your head up and helping to produce.
I was pointing at the thing to remind you to pull it off.
I was putting one card up to flip another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a process. So, San Francisco looked good. That feels a little shocking considering that they lied to us about the status of Christian McCaffrey, or what was his new name? Strained McCaffrey.
Yes.
And Minnesota, I guess Sam Darnold looked good as well. I think you're probably going to see the Minnesota team take a step back. Numbers pretty big here on the road. Last year,
they're both. I mean, they're both coming off.
Covered.
They're both coming off big wins. Vikings won outright last year at home when the 49ers came into town. That was part of like the 49ers 3-game losing streak. Trent Williams being back obviously is huge for the 49ers.
What was up with the Jets defense?
I mean, the Jets defense is really bad. Hassan Reddick still nowhere close to signing or actually coming in. That's going to be big. One of the best coaches, ATS on the road short rest actually is Kyle Shanahan. He's been 8-2 ATS on short rest. Darnold off a big win. That looks like something I would want to fade. I mean, it's weird to kind of be on San Francisco -6 here, but yeah, I don't know.
Sharp money on Minnesota. Oh,
really?
Alert,
well, I get it. I get it. They're a home dog, but I don't know, Ryan. You watch that Vikings 49ers game way more closely than I did. To me, I think it's more an indictment on the Giants than it was on how awesome the Vikings were.
I mean, I certainly, you take away like you put quarter again, like some of the decisions with who played on defense, interesting, and flop playing created some easy stuff for Darnold, but a lot of it was, I mean, we know with Darnold, you got to get, if you get him off his spot, he's going to have problems. And I think that was the biggest surprise. So either Minnesota has a good offensive line, because Dexter Lawrence was the only guy that was really doing anything. And so if he's able to hold up against the Niners defensive line, I see no reason why they aren't going to move the ball. And so maybe I did just talk myself into taking the points. I don't think I want to though. I don't want to be on Darnold. I think we saw an outlier performance where most of his completions were.
Yeah, I mean, two things I'm really rooting against this season are the 49ers and Sam Darnold. I'm kind of in a rock and a hard place.
But I kind of think that the matchup is such that it's give me the Vikings. I think
sell me.
It's the back door. It's the back door. It's the fact that their offensive line held up.
Okay.
It's the fact that a lot of the stuff that Darnold was doing was relatively easy. And even when it was good defense, it was a relatively easy read, quick little rollout, dump it off to the tight end. He didn't have to do anything. Do you think that they're going to get him off his spot? I wonder. The one thing I do have some level of confidence is that, like, I don't think the Kayvon Thibodeau probably didn't have his best game, but I don't think, like, I think they were able to deal with a decent defensive front from the Giants and take advantage a little bit of a secondary. But I don't know if that,
Ryan, that's
kind of what the Niners.
We kind of missed this angle. We haven't mentioned it at least. Green Bay, what did they do really well the last time they played the 49ers? Man by the name of Aaron Jones, 18 for 108. Let's go. Give me the Vikings.
Well, that was where I kind of like stumbled into this, was first wanting to be a contrarian and seeing that everyone was betting on the Niners, but also just understanding that if this Vikings offensive line is going to hold up like this, then we were very wrong about what this Vikings team is this year. Although the concerning part is, and we didn't get to this yet, is Brian Flores' defense against the Niners wasn't great last year, but really good game.
They
week
won
one
last year.
Really good game week one.
They
Brock Purdy had a good game though.
No, he didn't. He threw a couple of interceptions. That was one of Purdy's worst games, I think.
I'm pretty sure he did all right.
I'm gonna pull up Brock Purdy's numbers, because I thought he really struggled in Minnesota. Yeah, 21 to 30, 272, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That was not a good game.
Threw for 272.
Come on, 2 interceptions. That's not a good game. You can't have a good game.
I'm fine with that. Like Brian Flores confused him a couple times. Like I said, I think the offensive line to me will be the story.
Okay. Yeah.
Sam Darnold,
Aaron Jones, and Flores against Purdy. I'm in. Give me the Vikings in 6.
272 yards is a lot in the modern NFL. I mean, how many quarterbacks couldn't get over 200 last week?
That was crazy. I mean, if you were a maniac who had a long shot passing yardage leader, it was a great outcome. Week one, no one being able to rack up a bunch of passing yards.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Tua is out to a tremendous lead. We did ask ourselves, he won last year. Why is he like 20 to 1 or 15 to 1? All right, next up we got not the most interesting game here, Sean. Seattle and New England. The Seahawks laying 3.5. 38 is the total, plus 166 home dogs for the Patriots, who, I mean, again, Seattle, another one. I got the knife out there because little sharp money coming in again on the Seahawks. Pats looking ahead to Thursday Night Football.
Oh,
if you track that kind of stuff, which could be, perhaps we're in back-to-back tough spots for Mr. Mayo. First, you have the dump the Gatorade, coming off the dump the Gatorade game, which is this game, and then you have your first early week Thursday night game. Lot to deal with. As soon as we saw the Gatorade go, we said we're taking. Yeah, I mean, we're fading this team next week.
It's the strongest trend out there. It's fading. They literally dumped the Gatorade. Usually, it's a figurative Gatorade dump during the regular season. It was a literal Gatorade dump. Now, certainly, George Fant maybe being out for the Seahawks. Walker, and according to SGPN Doc, aka the DGen Doc, he was saying it's pretty concerning considering Kenneth Walker's history of oblique injuries. Yeah. So I think Charbonnet is actually going to get the start there. I think the Seahawks team is a little too talented not to get this done. It's a massive letdown spot. Do I like the Seahawks as a non-conference road favorite? No. And that Keon White, the second year pass rusher for the Pats, I thought had a really good game. He was a fun watch. We'll see. Like if the Seahawks lose this, it's some Geno turnover stuff, which, you know, as much as I was not right about the Broncos game, eventually I think most places had a push. Maybe if you got the 6.5, I think Geno looking bad was a take that I felt pretty good still about in that week one. Like they won and probably got to cover most places, but I don't know. I don't think Geno looked very sharp. That being said, Jacoby Brissett isn't a guy who racks up wins, doesn't go back to back, fading Brissett after a win, fading Gerard Mayo after his first win, fading a team, literally dumping the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't want any part of this in Survivor because, and I think Seattle's going to be a popular Survivor play, Ryan. Yeah.
No.
I'm telling you.
No. You can't do that. I will say they did play good defense. And so unless, I guess, where are you on Cincinnati? Because part of me is I think since like part of New England playing good defense was Cincinnati looked like crap. And so,
yeah, I think it was Cincinnati starts off slow. They were obviously looking ahead to the Chiefs. Again, all the reasons we said don't take Cincinnati in your Survivor. I don't think it was like the Pats are way off. I think a lot of the anti-Pat stuff that we were on, I think still applies.
And
yes,
I think we'll be looking at when we have 4 to 6 weeks of data. Well, I think we'll be looking at Seattle as a top run defense in the league. I think that defensive front's going to be tough. And so if what happens if New England can't run the ball, Sean? We don't know yet.
I think they're going to be in trouble. Yeah. And shout out to Molly Hudgens in the chat. Is this really love? And then she goes, LOL live. It is live. YouTube.com/sportsgambling podcast. Smash that subscribe button. So we're both on Seattle here as a non-conference road favorite.
Laying the 3.5, not take. And I mean, again, the close your eyes special in this. There's no handicap. The Gatorade was dumped. We just have to follow through. All right, next up, we got the Jets heading to beautiful Tennessee to take on the Titans. Jets laying 3.5 on the road just doesn't seem right. 78% of the bets also joining with that number. Back-to-back road spot. Coming off Monday Night Football, Jets, like I said, looking ahead to that game against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. 40.5 is the total, plus 160 for the Titans in the home dog spot. All right, so I think we're both obviously going to be on the Titans. We'll tell you how the Titans defense held up pretty strong against Caleb Williams. I think we'll tell you that that Jets defense was looking pretty disheveled against the Christian McCaffrey-less Niners offense.
Yeah.
I mean, Ayuk missed the whole offseason. They were rusty.
Even Ayuk was saying he was rusty, and they still rolled on this Jets defense. It sounds like again, no Hassan Reddick.
What?
And reminder, the Titans.
How has no one been fired?
The Titans went on the road and didn't allow an offensive touchdown. Like that's pretty damn good. I think why I'm still holding on to some Titans optimism, at least for some of the coach of the year stuff, Callahan being brutally honest about better off punting, is how well their defense looked, and some nice trends about teams who blow 10-point leads week one, how good they are week two, 29-17 straight up, 28-17-1 ATS. And I think they're going to be in a good spot here. Hopkins looks like he's going to be getting closer to a full workload, so that's good. And then this is a tough travel spot for the Jets. Again, you're on the West Coast after a rough. I mean, they kind of got pushed around by that 49ers team on Monday. Now you get a short week going back to the East Coast in Tennessee. You might deal with some heat and humidity. Aaron Rodgers historically, he's actually one of the best one of the best ATS after a straight up loss. But man, Jordan Mason ran all over this Jets defense, and one of the few bright spots of the Titans offense besides Chigoziem Okonkwo, who as soon as he got the touchdown, I yelled, "Getting Chiggy with it," which felt fun until they obviously blew the game and killed me. But Tony Pollard, I thought, looked pretty good running the ball. I think this Jets offensive line is going to surprise some people. Like, I think the Jets issue, the Titans issue, wasn't like Levis getting too much pressure. It was just fucking Levis holding on to the ball too long. I thought he actually had some time to throw. He just held on to the ball way too long. So hopefully Callahan can straighten him out and get things sorted. But I think 3.5, 4 points is too much to give this Titans team.
Yeah. I mean, it is a new scheme. And it is well Levis.
Yeah, come on.
So I again, we highlighted this. The game 2, he's gonna go for 300. Yeah, he was holding the ball too much. Even if he just doesn't flick the ball out to the sideline like a real mop, as CJ would say.
I mean, I was like, challenge it. He was almost down. Like, it was everything went horribly wrong for the Titans, and like they doubled up their yardage against that team.
But I think whatever the game plan was for the Niners defense to kind of keep Breece Hall in check, that's what you got to do. I think to win games against the Jets, that's what you got to figure out. So can the Titans defense do that? They were able to kind of do it against a Bears team with a rookie quarterback at the helm. This will be a good test for them. I'm obviously going to take them as a home dog. I know we're supposed to lay the 3.5, but Jets 0-2. Misery starts in New York.
Yes. No, I'm all over the Titans. This is, can't you just, the New York media is going to have a raging hard on.
Who's betting on the, also, yeah, the Titans are officially the bad win of bad loss of the week from the box score.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised the Jets are getting all the action, and it's a back-to-back road spot. I mean, it's tough. All right. We got the last early game, Sean. New York Football Giants, and why do they do this? Commanders week. After that, Commanders getting 85% of the bets, minus 1.5. 44.5 is the total. Giants plus 107. If you're not familiar, Brian Dable and this Giants team do not lose to the Commanders football team, the Redskins. And oh, by the way, I have a warning. Giants defensive line is going to look good.
Okay.
Against this Washington team. And then if you're going to look good against anyone, it's this Washington secondary. So if at halftime, Daniel Jones has not figured this out, you got to get the gun out, put the curtain, or bring out the
he needs 5 games.
Bring out the curtain, wrap it around him just like at the horse track, and put him down. And send him up to the farm. And that's that. We got it. Tommy DeVito time or Drew Lock, whoever the fuck. I don't care.
You don't really care who's quarterback.
It doesn't matter. They can not have a quarterback. They're not losing to the Commanders. Neighbors on pace for 1,160 yards or something like that. We got something to live for.
That's like the guy who hits a home run the first game of the MLB season. He's like, he's on he's on pace for 162 home runs.
I want to pick against the Giants.
Yeah,
can't do it in Commanders week.
This is a sad bottom for the franchise as a whole. Ryan, Vikings outside linebacker Jonathan Grenard said they started to feel bad for Daniel Jones when the boos from the crowd got as loud as a typical third down defensive scenario.
Nice.
This is now back-to-back starts to the season without scoring a touchdown for the Giants. Obviously, league low, 6 points. The hope is,
are you handicapping this game, or are you just going to keep spewing off shit from the rear view mirror?
Well, how do I talk about?
Again, you got to look in the past.
So there's all right. Daniel Jones 22, 37 and 1 in games he's played and started. But
where's that neck brace?
Daniel Jones straight up versus Washington 5-1-1.
Yeah.
It's the only team The only team he's played more than once where he has a winning record. The exception is the Panthers. He's 2-0 against the Panthers.
Well, again, that's stay tuned for the Germany game.
This is a great.
When we take them in the Survivor.
And there's a lot of great memes going. Like, this is the final punishment for Germany. Giants versus Panthers. A lot of, Nuremberg war crimes jokes going around. Dable Ryan has faced Washington 4 times as a head coach.
Yep. What's his record?
4-0 ATS.
There was a tie in there.
Yeah, but you can still cover as a tie.
I know.
They were getting points.
I'm just saying.
They've been a dog every time.
This feels a little bit like that Colts game, right?
Steffi Smalls in the chat. Check out the Steffi Smalls show, available on YouTube, saying she canceled her trip to Germany. I don't know if that's a joke, but she doesn't like hearing all the negative stuff I had to say. But Ryan,
yes.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Giants plus 1.5.
Is it a great teaser leg?
Well, no, no, it's a horrible teaser leg. And Wong, when he came up with his teaser formula, he couldn't have seen the ineptitude that is the New York Giants. So don't put this in the teaser. Never put the Giants in a teaser. But to Ryan's point, they covered the spread against the Redskins. So I listened to the flow chart for division stuff because
only the Ravens and the Bills had more separation at the receiver position than the New York Football Giants. And the offensive line played well last week.
Yeah, and
this could be a blowout. Now I'm talking about this could be a blowout. This could be an absolute blowout.
Oh, it could be. It could be, Ryan. It very well.
Are you
could.
done?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I picked the Giants. That was all me saying stuff. I mean, yeah, granted I had to throw a little dirt on the grave. Who do you want? All jokes aside, who are you looking to draft next year?
Oh, I'm not part of my evaluation yet. I'm focused on week 2. That's all that I have in front of me. Not focused on last year, not focused on the draft. No TMZ shit over here.
Are you happy for Barkley? 3 touchdowns, 1 game.
He started fast before. He has a hard time finishing.
It's only the first time he had 6 touchdowns all last season for the Giants. Already 3.
There you go. You're very focused on the Giants this season. Every episode, Sean, bringing up the Giants.
You're one of the few guys I talk to in person, and you're a Giants fan. I absorb Giants.
I will
through
say,
osmosis.
Saquon has had good starts before.
Okay,
we'll see.
All right.
But yeah, great start. Very happy for him.
I thought you'd be optimistic about Saquon. Right.
I don't think he's going to finish the year. That's okay though.
Okay.
Can't predict injury, right?
I can unless it's Christian McCaffrey.
Strained McCaffrey. All right, next up, let's get to the late window, Sean. We got 3 games.
Well, while we're in the late window, Ryan, I'm gonna hop into the lab over on Rhythm.
Okay.
Spuds has my goggles.
Well,
he's being safe for both of us.
While you're pulling up the model, I'm sure the model knows this, but Arizona's laying 1.
Okay.
49's the total. You can get a cool plus 100 on the Rams, who, by the way, back-to-back road spot. Who, by the way, they're looking ahead. This is an interesting game for them, and I know you're going to say, "Hey, it's a divisional game. There's no way they would look ahead."
Ryan, I got my Bunsen burner out. I'm in the lab. I got some beakers going.
Where's your beaker?
We got to order some.
Yeah,
beakers.
don't lie. Don't say you got beakers when you don't got beakers.
Rhythm AI. Artificial intelligence loves Rams plus 1. Sean, the SGPN NFL model that I built, thanks to my help with Rhythm, they like Rams plus 1. And Sean, the gut handicapper, the guy who's got a little, he can take some omeprazole for his gut so it gets dialed in.
Oh wow,
he likes the Los Angeles Rams. Kyler Murray, Ryan.
You Brian Kelly, you got a little family.
Kyler Murray, he's been horrible against the Rams. 1-8 straight up, 1-7-1 ATS. McVay has owned Arizona, 12-2-1 ATS in division. So if Dable owns the Commanders, we know that McVay owns Arizona. Maybe a tough spot, but they're much like the Chargers. The Rams are a better team on the road. Cooper Kupp, who I was all over saying, what are we crazy? Puka Nacua is coming in injured. I love listening to these fantasy guys. Yeah, well, just because we like a guy, we should consider he was injured. Yeah, no shit. Cooper Kupp is healthy. Why would you not want? He likes the Grateful Dead. This is a good spot for the Rams. I know it was overtime, but they just own the Arizona Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr. came out flat. There's already some drama there. This guy looks slow.
Oh, Sean, be careful.
What?
We're cool with Marvin Harrison Sr. We are
Marvin
really
Harrison
cool.
Sr.
He looked really fast to me. He looked super fast to me.
Never say anything. And even if I was going back and forth and wanted to get cute and take Arizona, ignore all the evidence pointing to the Rams. Cardinals right tackle Jonah Williams out. Cooper Kupp's gonna have a field day against this Cardinals secondary
if they have time,
and they will. I know the Rams O line is really banged up, but I don't think Cardinals pass rush can do enough. I think that, I mean, if I'm Sean McVay, I do some 12 personnel and bring in some, I wouldn't play Colby Parkinson anytime touchdown. I think they're going to bring in the tight ends to help chip on Arizona. Even they might not need it, but Cooper Kupp, there's no one on that Cardinals team that can guard Cooper Kupp. He's going to have, I think, double-digit receptions, alt receiving yards, get him going.
I think that the bits of penetration the Cardinals were able to achieve against the Bills that
he's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Allowed Josh Allen to make some of those electric runs, or essentially what they baited him into. I don't know if that works the same with Matt Stafford behind, the street free agents we were talking about in the Bucs secondary. I feel like that's what the Rams offensive line is going to be. And every once in a while we have these games where you run out a complete second string offensive line and it just looks bad. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. All the trends you listed are accurate. The flow chart tells you take the Rams. Maybe I'm a Kyler honk this year, but
you are.
I think this
you're letting the slot machine blind.
I think this Rams team is so that Aaron Donald's not coming back, and this team is beat the fuck up. And whatever letdown angle you were using against the Lions, you failed to mention for the Rams here. And oh, by the way, McVay has his dad next week and Kyle Shanahan. So yes, I absolutely think he looks ahead because he doesn't think about the Cardinals. He beats the Cardinals all the time.
Yeah.
Let down spot.
You just explained.
Give me the Cardinals.
He beats the Cardinals all the time.
Who, by the way, another beautiful contrarian. But back-to-back road spot for the Rams. That's true.
Buda Baker going into the Ring of Honor, according to Terrell Furman.
That is next level handicapping. I didn't have that on my notepad.
Maybe Arizona gets up for the Buda Baker game.
Didn't have that. I did write down that the Cards are going to be scrappy again, though. All year,
of course, you love
all
it.
year.
No, them as a dog is interesting. Them as a favorite, no.
-1's basically a dog. It's
not at home. What are you talking about?
All right, next up we got the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Boy, Bengals did not look good, and then some poor beat reporter posted a picture of Joe Burrow picking up a water bottle, and now everyone thinks Joe Burrow's carrying some more injuries. 80% of the money coming in on Kansas City. 47.5 is the total. Plus 205 for the Bengals on the money line. Don't think people thought the price was going to be there to start the season. Hollywood Brown sounds like he is gonna play. I don't know how involved he'll be. You don't think so?
It looked like I read something that said it was closer to they're going to wait one more game.
Well, it sounds like he's healthy, whether or not they need him in this game, because I got to imagine they're just going to pound the rock. We talked about Pacheco earlier in the show.
Yep.
They're going to have a massive matchup just pushing, and then you're going to see some big plays on the back end.
Ran all over them.
They also they passed a little bit too. I think this is going to be a bad. I'm telling you, this Bengals defense is going to be bad this year, and I think the Chiefs are firing on all cylinders early and often.
Yeah, and you get Andy Reid with some extra rest. And to your point, Bengals defense clearly has some issues. They didn't run Zach Moss or Chase Brown. They only ran them 12 times. So again, yeah, maybe Burrow's coming back from the injury, get a little rhythm going with the running game. Game plan was very sus, as the kids say, about or very sus from Zach Taylor. Jamar Chase should be 100%. T Higgins is out. And in the first 2 weeks of the season in the Burrow era, they're 1-8 straight up, 2-6-1 ATS. It's tough. Like, the only thing that's interesting to me about this game, as far as like taking the Bengals, is Joe Burrow off a loss and Joe Burrow as a dog. Those two spots have made me a ton of money over the years. So I'm scared to go against it.
Is he hurt? And can their defense do anything? I mean, also, They abandoned the run. The play calling left a little to be desired. Who was that? Whose decision was that? Was that the new OC? Was that the head coach? Was that Joe Burrow?
Should I read the Taylor Swift trend, Ryan? My wife says she's not on tour, so she thinks she'll be at the game. 11-3 straight up, 9-4-1 ATS.
I didn't factor that into my handicap.
Why not?
I'm an asshole. First the Buda Baker spot, Terrell making me look like an asshole. Now you're making me look like an asshole with this Taylor Swift bullshit. Yeah, I think that I need to see the Bengals be right before I can assume they're going to bounce back. And so I'll lay these points all day. I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage both ways. And if they control the line of scrimmage both ways, I don't see why this is a game. It wasn't a game versus the Patriots. Patriots dominated them.
Yeah. But they were looking ahead to the Chiefs.
You want the case for it?
Yeah. Burrow is a dog.
They drove into the red zone a couple times. They had some weird turnovers.
Yep. I'm going. I almost want to go Cincy.
Go Cincy. It's a nice contrarian angle. I would have loved to go Cincy here. With Cincy, you got to see it. And
I'm going Cincy.
Sean, something's wrong with his wrist. I'm telling something's wrong.
He'll fix it.
Okay.
Give me the Bengals plus 5.5.
Go hang out with Deshaun and get it fixed. All right.
It's just Burrow as a dog. I can't go against.
I know you can't. All right. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers in a back-to-back road spot here. They're on the road in Denver, laying 2.5. I see some threes out there. 36.5 is the total, plus 122 for the home dog. Broncos.
These are my two AFC side pieces.
This is, but come on, Sean. A quarterback and an offense that looked like Bo Nix and Sean Payton in that last game. I understand they're coming home. I understand they have the elevation.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, not against TJ Watt in this defense. I'm going to be a donkey here. I'm going to be a donkey and lay points with Justin Fields. I'm going to be a donkey
favorite Justin
and lay
Fields
points with Mike Tomlin. I'm going to be a donkey and fade the Denver Broncos at elevation early in the season because Bo Nix is trash. That's it.
Yeah, I'm not quite out on you with Bo Nix.
Lost one of the running backs already.
Yeah, this was super tough for me because I love the Broncos as a team this season. Yes, but maybe I got ahead of myself because I do think the Broncos, just in general, Peyton's teams start slow. Although, again, Broncos have been historically good at home in September. Peyton, now this is a bit of an outlier, but again, it kind of does speak to how slow he started. 4-12 ATS in week 2. I ignored his week 1 ATS trend, although he got the push. Thank you for that in the Circa million. And Justin Fields, we're watching history, Ryan, because he's made 21 career road starts. Guess how many times he's been favored?
0.
Yes. I already told you that piece of trivia. You're supposed to come on.
You can't.
You ruined it in rehearsal.
You can't do a rehearsal.
And Tomlin has not been good as a favorite, but it's actually, if he's a favorite of 3 or less, that's basically actually an okay spot.
Yeah, you're on my side now. Basically a dog.
30-26. What really? Because I was pulling out what was left of my hair trying to figure this out because Sean Payton off a loss, Tomlin as a road favorite. Like there was a lot of scenarios to look at, and I'm on an island. I thought there were some actual positives to take away from that Broncos team, who played pretty good defense and had 2. Dude, you look at me like I'm crazy. They safety Geno Smith twice on the road in a hostile environment. Yeah. If the offense did anything and put them in a decent spot,
that's part of the handicap here.
What do you mean? I think the Broncos defense is good.
I think that when Seattle started running the ball, that's when things got going. I think the one thing that Pittsburgh's going to be able to do a little bit is run the damn ball.
Yes.
So that's the handicap.
I'm not.
You're not taking Denver, are you?
No.
I was going to say.
What finally?
Coach Tomlin would be very disappointed.
What finally broke me off Denver and over to the Steelers was Garrett Bowles didn't practice today. So I think if you're going to not have one of your starting tackles against this Steelers defense, that's the game wrecker. Because again, TJ Watt's playing at an MVP level, like one game, but I think he could have a similar game. So I got to take the Steelers.
He's angry. So
well,
he's angry.
after he correctly predicted the snap count, strip sack Kirk Cousins. He was like mad that Kirk Cousins thought he could hold the ball. Like he took it personal. After he strip sacked Kirk Cousins and they called it back offsides, even though he timed the snap perfectly. When he pulled off his the headphone of the earphone of or whatever the headset of Tomlin and was just like and Tomlin's just like just nodding his head. I was like, oh shit, he's gonna get another one. He did. They won. They covered. So yeah, I'm on the Steelers here.
You gotta be. All right, Sunday Night Football. We got a nice one here. Maybe we got the Houston Texans laying 6 against the Chicago Bears. Totals 45 plus 234 for the Bears. 80% of the dollars coming in on Houston. Certainly a survivor option.
Yeah, definitely.
I would say if you're in the Circa, be aware this is a holiday team, so might want to look to protect them. How the fuck are the Bears supposed to, you're telling me they're going to score 3 non-offensive touchdowns again? Is that how they're going to do this?
Yeah, I mean,
I get it. They're a dog, not a favorite this time. It's slightly different, but
this is a great nugget. 11 quarterbacks have had 25 plus pass attempts and fewer than 100 passing yards in their first start since 2000. Caleb Williams is in the group. Can you guess one of the 3 other quarterbacks, Ryan?
I mean, were they all this past week?
No.
Okay.
No, it's since 2000. It's a 20-year trend.
I know.
They're spread out.
This was a historic week. Who? Justin Fields?
No, first career start.
First
career start.
Go.
Tommy DeVito,
nice.
Desmond Ridder, and Brett Hundley. So
Brett Hundley. Nice.
Brett Hundley. Yep. That not off to a great start.
Speaking of Packers backups.
Rookie quarterbacks on the road in prime time, hitting at 31%. Odunze is out. Keenan Allen dealing with a heel injury.
Oh no, already? Odunze sounds serious. Like second, we're hearing about second opinion.
Yeah, I think he might go on the IR. I would not be shocked. And the Bears, as much as they were great at turning over Will Levis and did a pretty good job, obviously in the passing game, slowing him down. I thought Tony Pollard, if they stuck to the run, maybe a little bit better. I mean, Joe Mixon, I think, is going to be set up for a decent spot here. And on the other side, I think if you're the Bears offense, you got to get the running game going to make Caleb Williams' life a little easier. But I don't know if they can do that. Texans actually, I love this Texans defense, especially at home. Jonathan Taylor, they held him to 48 rushing yards on 16 carries. Stingley, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter. Like I think this is just going to be, and you saw what the Titans did. The Titans went into Chicago, held them to 0 offensive points, 1 field goal. And now you got to go on the road against a Texans team, which I would, it's early, but like Texans certainly have much more defensive talent.
Yeah. Home opener.
Yeah. That place is going to be rocking, and it's a primetime game. This is Houston all day.
Also, Caleb Williams just again he
ran around and was like trying to create plays.
The upon further review for me was just like all the rookies were bad, just really really bad.
He was expecting guys to be more wide open once he started scrambling around, and that wasn't the case. And I don't think it's going to be the case against this Texans defense.
If the look at number I pulled out was correct, it went from 3.5 to 6. Are we at all concerned about that?
No.
Didn't get to the key number of 7 yet, so
nope.
we're good. All right, final one. Monday Night Football, Sean. Eagles hosting the Falcons. A lot of money coming in on the Eagles. It makes sense though, because it's Kirk Cousins in prime time. Although he has been better of late.
You keep saying that. That's not true.
Philly minus 6.5. 47 is the total, plus 240 on the money line.
Kirk Cousins 3-10 straight up Monday Night Football, so he's got a big hole to dig out.
ATS is where he has not been bad over the last 3 seasons, but he looked cooked, and maybe the offensive line didn't serve him well. But he can't move off the spot, and you know, the receivers, you know, Pitts, as long as he doesn't trip over his own feet, he's fine. As long as Drake London can get off the line of scrimmage, he'll be fine. Bijan, there's nothing about this team that's exciting. They got their ass beat by the Steelers.
Yes.
A team everyone came in with low expectations.
They were another
and the Eagles offense. We'll see. You want to say, hey, well, let's see what this offense looks like against a good defense. Well, this is not a good defense.
No.
And
they put up 34 points with 2 bad turnovers.
I thought the Eagles defense, might give the Falcons some opportunity, but not if Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball like he did last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't feel good about laying 6.5 with a team like the Eagles. The Eagles defense is making it scary to want to lay 6.5 here.
I thought the defense. I mean, you look at the.
I'm just saying there's a chance the Falcons offense looks a little better in this game.
I guess, but you also saw that Kirk Cousins couldn't take snaps under center. The guys who do the Underdog film review show pointed out that like through the first watch through, he didn't get outside the tackle box. Well, like he didn't move around in the pocket at all. And now, granted, he's not a mobile quarterback, but you usually see some little movement here.
They said this on the They talked about this on the broadcast. I don't know how dialed in you were in the ballroom, but basically they were running pistol to protect him.
And again, the Falcons were another one of those teams who possessed the ball less than 25 minutes, which they're horrible. 6-25 ATS in week 2. I think the market is just off as far as Atlanta. I think if we're going to look back on this and say this should have been 8.5. The Philly offense has some issues with the turnovers, but again, and the defensive side too, like some of it's tough to handicap, honestly, because there were a bunch of broken plays both sides. If I'm being fair to the Packers, which I don't know why I would do that, but the matchup of Jalen Carter versus this interior offensive line of Atlanta, I think is going to be a awesome spot for the Eagles. Quinyon Mitchell had a very good start to his rookie campaign. And I think, you get AJ Terrell, maybe he can slow down AJ Brown a little bit, but I don't know who is going to slow down Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert. I think it could be a big spot for those guys in prime time. Jalen Hurts has been very good ATS at home, 17-9-1, third most profitable QB during that stretch. And you're fading Kirk Cousins on Monday night. Even Raheem Morris said, quote, "I feel like Kirk is healthy."
Feelings aren't good when you're a football coach.
And is Kirk going to be excited for this game?
Yeah, just the more that I thought about this game, the more that I see a backdoor in our future. I do think that, like I said, Kirk Cousins slightly above 500 ATS over the last couple seasons in prime time, and
no, you're on the Falcons.
I'm going to take the points.
Oh,
I think that
really.
I do not think the Falcons. Like I'm threading the needle here, but I think this is going to be a 13-point game with like 7 minutes to go, and they're going to slide in with a touchdown late. I think Philly's going to control the game, but I do think the offense for Atlanta will have some drives, and I think we'll come out of this thinking that the Eagles' offense is looking solid and the defense is still a work in progress, or maybe Vic Fangio's defense is just washed. One of those two things. So.
Now, what makes you think Vic Fangio's defense is washed?
Because they've written all of his, no one else runs the scheme anymore. That's why.
Okay,
he's the last one. He's like an endangered species.
Maybe he's the only one who knows how to do it.
Got to bring him to
Belichick was pretty good. The guys around him were.
That's like I said. It's one or the other. Either they're going to be bad or the defensive coordinator's washed.
Time for the Lock Dog Tease presented by BetUS. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Get that nice deposit bonus. And make sure they know we sent you. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Kramer, first lock. What do you got?
The first game that popped out this week, which was interesting because it was the first game you brought up to me in the office. Is going against Cleveland.
No.
Give me Jackson.
Oh no.
What do you mean?
Well, you stole my lock.
Here we go. I stole your lock.
What's your other lock?
Second lock. Unpopular. I'm on the wrong side of a move, but this Cincinnati team's not right. Laying the points with Kansas City, like you said, Taylor Swift will be in the house.
She is good straight up in ATS.
I'm going to do it. I'm going back to the well. diabolical. But give me the Tennessee Titans on the money line. I think they get some things fixed here, and they realize they have to take some deep shots. They have to. One of the best things he does is deep shots. Take some deep shots, please.
Okay.
Tease?
Yeah. What do you got?
I need to be better at the tease this week. Tough tease week with some of the favorites I got. We're gonna take Detroit -7 or -1.5. We're gonna take Baltimore -2.5.
Okay.
I won't tease the Giants. And we're gonna tease the.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I'm not gonna. I just said I'm not gonna do it.
Don't get mad at me because the Giants suck, right?
And we're gonna tease the Saints to 13.5 or 12.5.
Ooh,
Didn't see that coming, huh?
No, I didn't. I didn't think that would be on the tease radar. All right, first lock. Ryan co-signed it. Jacksonville -3. My other lock. I don't know. There's some stuff I like that'll probably be betting, but Houston -6.
Oh,
It's
we're gonna have a chalky ass card this week.
Yeah, but just that defense against Caleb Williams making his first road start. It's just too tempting of an opportunity for my dog. It's interesting. Saints are there. Bucs are there. Bills are there. Bills are kind of a tiny dog. Do the Bills qualify, Ryan? Yeah, it's +118.
Yeah, whatever. You take whatever kind of dog you want.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do like Tampa Bay. At +309. Is that what you're showing, Ryan?
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it's 3-1. It's 3-1.
Great pick.
Bucs 309 for my tees. Let's see. Yeah, love the Ravens down to 2.5. That's a good tease spot. Rams up to 7. It's easy. I mean, they're gonna win. Also, a potential lock there. And then will Minnesota lose by 12? They certainly could. Oh, Chargers! Come on, Chargers at a pick. Let's go. Panthers suck.
Look ahead to the sleepover.
Harbaugh rolls. All right. So our Circa survivor, according to the map, Ryan, is Baltimore. Lock that in. No changes. And what's our second one? I don't mind Jags. We both locked it up. That to me is a good sign.
We don't typically double dip, do we?
What do you mean? Well, we didn't week 1, but both our survivor picks also covered the spread.
All right, so we could double tap Baltimore, but we kind of want to save it for the Christmas option.
I keep our options open.
If we're avoiding road teams, it would be Jags favored and Houston.
Okay.
Houston also a holiday team.
Oh yeah, I mean to me it's Jags or Houston.
So you have no consideration of double. Yeah, then if we're not going to take Baltimore because we want to protect it, we shouldn't take Houston.
Okay.
Either.
Jacksonville -3. It's Deshaun Watson on the road. Like I feel really good about it.
Do we even want to look to see if there'd be a spot we take Jacksonville in the
Bring
future?
up your card, Ryan.
All right, let me. Beautiful Circa card here. Look at this.
Easy in the chat saying boo Sean, terrible pick to my Tampa Bay Bucs money line.
Listen, he's from Detroit. He'll be fine. I know he's not actually from Detroit. The Jags. Let's see. Colts at home. No, they do play the Patriots at home week 7. Sean.
Okay.
Packers at home, and so they play the Vikings at home week 10, and that's it. Titans at home week 17. I think we do it.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think we do it.
Are the other survivor play?
Dear God.
All right. So now what do we got going? Circa millions. Obviously Jags -3.
Yep.
Also
feels like it's going to be an easy selection.
Houston -6.
Yep.
And then what are our other consensus plays?
Put the Chiefs on there.
Oh, I don't like the Chiefs, but if you want to play, okay.
It's a lock. What world do you live in?
I thought if one person didn't like the lock, we
100%. We've always played the locks.
KC -5.5. Now, what are some other plays we like? You like Tennessee as a dog at +3.5.
We like a lot. We could take Baltimore. We both like that. We like Indy fading Willis.
I do like Indy.
Jacksonville. We already have Minnesota. Seattle. Pittsburgh.
Honestly, the Indy, the fading of Malik Willis is pretty good.
All right, let's throw that on there.
Indy -3. So we got 4 chalky spots here.
Tennessee. I mean, for me, if I was doing, I might have 5 favorites this week.
Okay. I mean, it does feel like we need one dog in here.
Do you want to go back to the Tennessee? Well, we could also. I mean, we could also take Minnesota or New Orleans. I mean, the Minnesota angle. Don't hate it.
Yeah, but then again, it's backing Sam Darnold, which is always
a
little tricky.
Should we take the Saints to shock the world?
I mean, the Saints. I don't know. Dallas early.
Then why are we trying to put a dog on the card? Then
well, then what do you like?
You don't want Tennessee and the Jets?
No, I'll take Tennessee. Let's go.
I mean,
so officially, Jacksonville -3, Houston -6, KC -5.5, Indy -3, Tennessee +3.5.
Yeah,
4-1. Let's go. Can't ask for 5-0, Ryan. Don't get greedy.
4-0-1.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
Mix it up a little bit.
Shout out to Steffi Smalls. Happy week 2 sweats, everyone. See you tomorrow. And yeah, we got our prop show tomorrow. What time is that kicking off? 2:00 Pacific
on the West Coast. Yes,
on the West Coast. A little early before Thursday night football, where you're going to see the Bills dominate the Miami Dolphins. That'll be fun. Friday we got the VSiN show, and the pregame show is back Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, taking your calls via what? Discord or Twitter, Ryan?
Discord.
So get in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Get in over on BetUS, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN.
For those who are wondering, Dick Puncher will be on the pregame show.
And he already gave out Mike Evans anytime touchdown +125.
Maybe we don't need him to call in anymore.
All right.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, Stacking the Money Green. He's Ryan.
Giants don't lose to the Commanders.
Kramer, let it ride.